Hi friends, it's your girl Becca Sarah. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm doing fine. So today I'm discussing the series You, the one starring Penn Badgley. If you don't know who Penn Badgley is, he was in a great show called Gossip Girl. He was also in the movie John Tucker Must Die, and etc., etc., etc. So he plays Joe Goldberg, who is a serial killer. This show overall pissed me off. Sorry for the swearing, but it made me mad just because of Joe. I can't stand Joe. I will literally say I hate Joe. I stopped watching this show after season 2 because I'm like, how has he not been caught? Why is he not in jail? I'm gonna stop watching this series. I'll probably come back if he goes to jail or die or something, gets the electric chair or something, because this is not right. He's hurt too many people, ruined too many lives, and he's not been punished once. That's messed up. So I'm gonna do the whole series. It's gonna be a very long one, so I'm splitting it in 2. So this half of the podcast is going to be seasons 1 to 3. The second part is going to be seasons 4 and 5, because in total this has 5 seasons. And then I'm also going to discuss and go into detail of my thoughts, opinions on everything, plus how many people Joe has killed. Everything like that is going to be on the second half. So stay tuned. So in this part, I'm just going to go in general from about season 1 through season 3, like I said before. Alright, so You is a book series from Caroline Kepnes. This series of books has 3 books in it in general, and this has 5. And this show You has 5 seasons. While watching the first season, which first aired on Lifetime, and if you do not know what Lifetime is, it's a network made by women, created by women. It's just a women-based network. They don't show women violence at all. In general, they have like a lot of different things happening in that network. So, like I said, this series first started on Lifetime, and it went on, only had 1 season on Lifetime. Seasons 2 to 5 were on Netflix. Just letting you know that the runtime is between 41 minutes to an hour. When it was 41 minutes on Lifetime, when it was on Lifetime for that 1 year, it aired from the 9th of September to the 11th of November 2018. Then on Netflix, it was there from the 26th of December 2019 to the 24th of April of this year. And like I said before, because Lifetime has commercials and stuff like that, it was 41 minutes. And because Netflix doesn't have commercials, It was just the full hour. So season 1 also starred my girl Shay Mitchell. If you do not know her, she was Emily on Pretty Little Liars. So let's get started with season 1 and this big mess of how terrible Joe is. So the first season, so we have Joe Goldberg. He is a bookstore manager in the Big Apple, and he is an introvert, a complete introvert. He doesn't really have friends. He's a homebody. He's very judgmental on people and completely is like, oh, why are people posting things on social media, and all that stuff. Very judgmental. It's like, why are people not reading books, or why are people doing this and that? Like, very terrible. So he's walking home, and he sees a woman. Her windows are all open. She doesn't care who sees. She's very confident about her body and everything like that. No blinds, no anything. She goes by her last name, which is Beck, but her whole name in general is Genevieve Beck, and she's an aspiring she's an aspiring writer. My bad, she's an aspiring writer. So pretty much Joe, he's very obsessive. Whoever he likes, he's obsessed with. Completely obsessed with in a bad way. So he becomes obsessed with Beck. Looks her up on social media, and he does that with all the women in every season that he falls in love with. He looks them up on social media. He tracks the girls. He does everything that literally would cause a person to go to jail. Just that alone. So, like I said before, he's obsessed with Beck. He gets to know what she likes, what she doesn't like through her social media. He finds where she works, what she does for a living. Literally breaks into her house, steals her underwear. One time he almost got caught by her, and then he heard the door of her apartment because he sneaks into her apartment and hides under the bed until she leaves. Steals things of hers. Terrible. He's a stalker. And he uses technology to track her, to stalk her. He's like the FBI, but he's using his FBI stuff for evil. Terrible. So, like I said, he does everything to get to know her life, her friends, her family, her boyfriend at the time. Anything to try to get more information about Beck. Literally, he does. Like I said, I'm going to discuss more in the second part about it, but I'm just doing this part right now. Anything like that would literally and make you go to jail, he does. Like, there's, like I said, he witnessed her having sex with her boyfriend. He's walked across her Benji, her boyfriend Benji. He walked every night through her window, like seeing what she's wearing. Hacks into her computer. Looks at any way to get more information in general. And Joe has a past, which I'll mention because it is discussed in season 2 and 3, that he doesn't really tell people about. He just changes his identity to morph into someone that he thinks the girl that he likes will like. And which is in general bad. Be yourself. However you are, be that. Do not change your personality to fit to someone else. Be yourself. There was one time because he stalks her, bumps into her in a train station. He saves her life because from getting hit by a train. Gets her old phone, steals her old phone, so he knows everything, like her texts, her everything. And then because Beck thinks like, oh, she lost her phone, it dropped, the train crushed it, she gets a new phone. So now he's pretty much can read all her text messages because it's still linked to her old phone, right? Because she has the same number. And he's stalking her. He's like, oh, he knows what she's saying about people in her life. He knows what he's saying back and forth to everybody. And I'm like, again, another way that he could go to jail. At one point, he's like, okay, I want to be with Beck. I'll do whatever it takes to be with Beck. To the point that he kidnaps Benji, puts him in a cage. And this cage is downstairs in the bookstore. And it's pretty there. This cage is for books, to like fix books that are no longer working, like they're broken, and to fix them. That's the point of the cage. But he traps Benji there, and he keeps them there, knocks Benji out, puts him in there. Benji's like, oh, do I owe you? Because at this point, like, Benji he's a bad boyfriend. He doesn't talk to Beck, and Joe is like trying to be like a savior in quotation marks and being like, you need someone better. You need someone that's there for you, that knows you, that will be there no matter what. Which is like, no one asked you to do that. Beck never said she needed saving. So stop trying to be like trying to save people that don't want to be saved, or she could take care of it herself. And at this point, like, Beck is like not interested in Joe. She's like, oh, he helped me, like, mostly could be as like maybe friends, but he tries to insert himself to like, no, to make him self be like, I am your man, and you just say yes to. So pretty after that, like, because again, Joe has Beck's phone, so he knows everything about Beck, the people in Beck's life, etc., etc. What Benji did, how Benji is, like, if Benji's allergic to anything. So Joe finds out that Benji's allergic to peanuts. He gets Benji a coffee and puts peanut oil, like a high dose of peanut oil. So he gets like hives, a very extreme allergic reaction. And if you have any kind of like not allergy, but like if you're allergic to like something like peanuts, shellfish, whatever you're allergic to, if you have a high dose of that can kill you. That can end your life. And when I first saw this, I was like, this dude's messed up. Okay, this is me again. I've never read the books, and at this point, there were Caroline only had 2 books out, and I went, there's, and this is before again, when I'm in the series, being like, okay, he's a stalker, red flag, but like, he hasn't killed anyone yet. So I'm like, like the basic things you could do is like, prove to her how you're better than her current boyfriend, I guess, right? Exactly. He went into her house. I'm like, okay, you need to go to jail. He stole property from her phone, her underwear, other things. And I'm like, okay, 100% you need to go to jail. And then when he killed Benji by using someone's allergy, I was like, okay, this dude is a killer. This dude needs to go to jail. He will do whatever he can and wants to get what he wants. And that includes murder, which is horrible and terrifying. And in that point, I was like, if Joe can kill someone to get them out of the way of having get them out of the way from to have the whatever woman he wants, how do you not know? How do you not think that he could kill you? So in that case, Joe hasn't really talked about his past, his childhood, etc., etc. And that makes me want to be like, oh my gosh, this dude probably has done terrible things in the past. I don't think Benji was his first kill. Because after he kills Benji, he easily is like, this is what you have to do. This is what I have to do to get rid of the body. He knows what he's doing. Which is, again, very terrifying in general. So, he gets rid of Benji. And again, Benji's like a drug dealer, does terrible things in general. And when Beck doesn't hear from him, she's like, oh, he's just being an a-hole. And here's another thing. After he kills Benji, or before, it's one of those two, he takes Benji's phone, pretends to be Benji, fools everybody. That's terrifying. Like, he pretends to be the people he killed, so people don't notice that they're dead or not be like, what happened? So again, Benji's gone. He made a post in Benji's name being like, oh, I just slept with 10 women. And backstage and she's like, F you, Benji, we're done, da 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 da. And then with that, Joe goes sneakily, like a sneaky snake, into to Beck's life. They're together. Joe's happy. The thing about Joe is he doesn't want people asking questions. He doesn't want people around him or people that he thinks is threatening to the relationship that he is trying to get with whoever girl. And if you're in the way of him in any way, shape, or form, he's like, I'm gonna get rid of you. And one of the people that suspects Joe being fake, two-faced, lying about something is Peach, played by Shay Mitchell. And she's like, I think Joe stole something from me. I'm missing something. He's sketched, and Beck's like, no, I don't think, maybe you misplaced it. And even Joe was like, you misplaced it. He said, here's some tea. Joe stole from Peach, then lied. And he stole a book from her. He stole her laptop and a lot of different things from Peach to get to know more information about Peach, to use it against her, and to also get, because he thinks, as Joe thinks Peach is his enemy. You know, he discovers that Peach has a thing for Beck, and for a long time, and he does anything he can to discredit Peach and Beck, because Peach is her best friend. Be like, no, Peach is not like that. Peach has been there for me from day one. She's always been there for me. And again, Joe's only doing that to, like, in his way, think he's protecting, again, quotation, Beck, but also for him to kick out the competition of Peach. Because if Peach is not hit there, Becky can spend more time with him. Fast forward, we're just gonna fast forward because this is gonna be a long one, and both of these podcasts are going to be having tons of spoilers. So if you haven't watched the series, then, and you don't want spoilers, I would just skip both of these podcasts. He, like, tracks Peach. Again, remember, he has his Peach's laptop, right? So he knows what her meetings look like, when she's going to work, when she's going to do this, when she's going to do that. Again, scary. And he ends up killing Peach. But before he actually kills Peach, he's running, he sees Peach running, and almost kills her during a run. And Peach goes to Beck being like, someone's following me. I feel like someone's following me. Friends trust your intuition. And it was. Someone was following her. It was Joe. And Peach is, like, very paranoid. Being like, someone's stalking me. Someone is literally following me. So, to the point that she's like, she buys a gun for protection, because she's like, someone's stalking me. I don't know if they want me dead. I don't know if they want to rob me. I don't know. So she carries a gun. So the one time, Peach invites Beck to stay over because, you know, again, Joe is pretty much stalking her, planning his move to kill Peach. And one time, like, Joe just shows up out of the blue, not being invited. Goes to Peach's house. And Peach is like, what are you doing here? And he brings up a lame excuse, something fake that Peach clocks, and to the point they're bickering, and Joe tries to get her. She shoots him. Joe falls to the ground. She shot for self-defense. Peach did. And she's making sure, she's like, oh, Joseph, you still alive? Because, again, she shot to protect herself. She didn't shoot to kill. And he fakes being dead, tackles her to the ground, takes her gun, shoots her, and writes a suicide note, pretending it's from her, sends it to all her friends. What is wrong with you, Joe Goldberg? What is literally wrong with you? You are messed up. You are a psychopath. You're a terrible human being. You need to be in jail. Talking about that, after he did the deed, and this is, again, in Lifetime, so you don't see Joe killing her. He's looking for somewhere to pee, but he's like, oh, I don't want to leave evidence. He pees in a cup, leaves the cup on a desk or a drawer, on top of a drawer in her house. And I'm like, anyone that sees that is gonna be like, you're gonna be in jail. And I was like, dude's gonna get caught. So he takes Peach's body, puts it in the bag, does his like evil serial killer thing, takes the body, drives. A police pulls him over, and I'm like, yes, they're going to ask to search the car, do the normal things. And Joe makes a BS excuse to the cop, and says like, oh, he pretends to be a doctor or something. He's like, I need to get to work. And I'm like, oh, okay, doctor. And they let him go. And before that, he was like, oh, I'm getting caught. They're gonna search. And I'm like, yes, you should be. And they don't. And they end up going to Peach's house, where they find her body and stuff like that. And I'm like, you guys didn't, you went through her house. How did you just discard the pee that you saw? And we're like, oh, maybe she was weird and didn't let someone like use the washroom, or the washroom was clogged or something, and so they peed in a cup, or they had a friend that they didn't trust, and they're like, no, you have to pee in this cup so we know that you aren't using or something. So you think they already tested it. I'm trying to figure out how no one didn't like see the cup of urine and didn't test it or anything. You're like, maybe it was something else. And I guess like because they saw the suicide letter, they're like, maybe it's nothing, so we're throwing it away. And I'm like, no, you guys should have still tested. And then call Joe being like, why did you pee? He probably would lie and be like, well, because Benji was a drug addict and he always had drugs. Peach didn't trust me and wanted me to test my blood to make sure I wasn't a drug addict or something. But like, still, that should have been tested to see, like, because maybe that letter was forged. But I was like, okay, it's season 1. They want another season. They're not gonna put him in jail yet. And I'm like, okay, at least at season 2, they'll put him to jail or something. Okay, so side note, there is a character named Hako. His mom is being abused by her boyfriend, husband, and what was told in season 1 was it's similar. It was parallel to how his childhood was. So his dad was extremely abusive to his mom, so he related to Podko in that way. To the point that at one time he saw Podko. I can't think of his stepdad's name at the moment, but Podko's stepdad was walking one day. Joe, behind him, killed him and told Podko, by the way, I believe it was Ron, the Ron situation is handled. You don't have to deal with him anymore. Your mom is safe. Your mom is safe. She won't get hurt by him anymore. You won't get hurt by him anymore. And Podko at that point was nervous to be around Joe, because if Joe can kill Ron, he could kill me. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I would think too. But before then, like, him and Podko had a really good relationship. Every time Podko was outside or trying not to be inside because only Ron was there, he would hang out with Joe. They would read books together. But after that, like, that incident happened, Podko removed himself a bit from Joe. And it made sense. So far in the series, right, we have 2 deaths. I might at the end of this like miss other ones, but so far 2 deaths. So like I said, there's other things that go on in the series, you know. Beck, she has a strained relationship with her dad, to the point that, like, it's really bad that she says her dad's dead even though he's not dead, because how bad their relationship is. Also, her and Joe break up at one point because they're not completely truthful to each other. Like, Beck hasn't told her at that point that her dad is actually alive. She just says he's dead because of their relationship. And she says to Joe, I don't know anything about you. The only thing I know about you is that you work in a bookstore and you like books. And that's it. And you have an ex-girlfriend named Candace. But you never told me what happened with you and Candace at all. I don't know anything. Well, yes, also Beck lied about some stuff, but you know the premise of how Beck is. He ends up, during that time, Joe is with a woman, I forget her name, but she does not die. He does not kill her. They go on a date and they are with each other for a little bit and end things. She survives. I'm happy she survives. And that's what happens with her. But he ends up back with Beck. They work things out. She one time Beck goes to his apartment and Benji was like, because one time Joe told him, you know, everything that's like very important to me secretly I store in a box in my washroom behind a panel. And Benji was like, who is now terrified of Joe, was like, by the way, if you want to know a little bit about Joe, he has a box on top of in the washroom and a towel in his room. She finds it, and in there she sees her underwear, Benji's teeth, her old phone, something from Peach, I forget what that is, something from Ron, like pretty much like something from everyone that he's either killed or a piece of an item from the girl he's stalking / the girl he's dating. And from that, she's horrified to the point that she's like, Joe, what is this? What is that? This, that, and the other were done. Da-da-da. To the point that Joe gets, I wouldn't say frightened, like scared of being left, I guess. Or like triggered to the point that he knocks. So she like runs out. He knocks her out. She runs away. And then because he's about to kill her at this point. And then Paco sees her. He closes the door because he's like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I'm scared. Maybe he'll kill me too. He closes the door. Joe knocks her out. She's in the cage. At some point she escapes, but at the end he kills Beck. Again, Beck is an inspired writing. She's writing a book. He finishes her book, takes things out, puts things in his own word. Book is published. People are like, who killed Beck? He blames it on her therapist, and I'll get to that in a second. So, John Stamos, if you guys don't know who John Stamos is, he was Uncle Jesse in Full House. He's her therapist. Beck had a flirtatious relationship with him. So he pretty much blamed it on him, and he's in jail because of that. There's also like cases where Beck, she's a TA at the university, and her professor just wants to have sex with her, and she's like, no, I don't want it. And like she's like trying to pay, she needs. So because she says no to his advances, he is like, okay, you're no longer my TA, which is a thing that actually happens. So overall, in general, Joe has ruined Nikki, the therapist's life, because he is convicted in first-degree murder. He has killed Beck, his girlfriend. We're trying to leave and maybe expose him. And because she's like, you killed Benji? You killed Peach? And you lied about it? Da, da, da. And again, because he was frightened, because he doesn't want to go to jail, he kills her. So he's killed. First he killed Benji, then Ron, then Peach, then Beck, his girlfriend. So 4 people in one season. And he doesn't feel remorseful. He's like, he plays the victim and he continues to play the victim, being like, oh, it's their fault, they did it with me, da da da. No, it's your fault, Joe. And he continues playing the victim card when he's never the victim. He might have, when he was little, being the victim, but the people that you killed, you are not the victim, especially the girlfriends that you had. So let's now go to season 2. So before we go to season 2, the first book of this whole series is called You. And like I said, there's only 2 books out when this series started in 2018. The second book, which is called Hidden Bodies, is seasons 2 and 3. And then You Love Me is season 5. And so is For You and Me Only also season 5. And just to let you know, I'm going to say this again when we get to that, because You and Me wasn't completely out yet when season 5 hit. Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because there was only 2 books out when the 3rd season came out. So everything from season 3 and 5 was basically either leftovers that they wanted to use from the book Hidden Bodies, or things that Netflix came out because there wasn't another book to reference from. So I think that Caroline used what happened in the show in the last 2 books. So continuing on, season 2. So Joe is no longer Joe. And you're like, oh, because he kills like 4 or 5. Doesn't really matter how many he killed people. And I'm like, no, my friend, that's not why. He stole somebody's identity. And that person, I just want to make sure I have that correct. Okay, so so the second season, Joe moves to LA, to Los Angeles, California. He finds a guy named Will Bethlehem just somewhere, because again, Joe has murdered people. So he sees Will somewhere, knocks him out, and I'm like, oh, so we were starting with him killing people. Got it. No, he takes Will, puts him in a cage. Again, he finds a storage unit in downtown Los Angeles, makes a cage there. Anyway, he takes Will, puts him in the cage, steals Will's identity, and now his name is Will, because Joe is trying to foolish everybody. So if people decide to be smart and test his P and link it to Joe, guess what? Joe's dead. He doesn't go to jail because what's his name? What's my name? This is Joe's thought process. Will. Psychotic. That's just messed up. Just go to jail for what you have done. You've killed people. During this whole series, we find out information about Candace, Joe's ex-girlfriend, who he thought he killed. She has not died. She's found Joe and was like, she used to call him Bunny. I was like, Bunny, I know what you did. I know who you killed. You're going down. And I was like, yes. And her, aka Candace, theme for this whole series is to take Joe down, to prove that to prove he killed all these people, get justice, send this terrible a-hole to jail. And I was all for it, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And she's just collecting evidence, you know. So when she goes to a police officer, be like, see, my ex, he's a serial killer. I love that. So Joe is, at this point, he's working for a book clerk because Joe loves book. Joe loves books, so of course he's working as a book clerk somewhere. Again, he still doesn't have friends. He's a loner. And this bookstore is close to a bakery, and he meets his next obsession. And her name, ironically, is Love. Her last name is Quinn. She is a twin. Her twin's name is 40. And I'm like, I don't like the names that your parents give you. You named your child 40, like the number. And I'm like, Love is kind of, okay, weird for a name too. And I'm not saying it's weird because it's LA and people in LA call their children's weird name. And I'm like, no, people everywhere call whoever their child weird names all the time. It's not just a Hollywood thing, LA thing, California thing, or famous people thing, or rich people thing. Some people call their children weird names in general. I'm like, okay. So they're twins. Love is a part unique. And while I'm saying this is the only love interest so far, if we're going to talk about the first 3 seasons, that last two seasons, they have a kid together. Spoiler, they get married. They do the trials and tribulations that go on with a marriage, who I also think is his perfect match in general. So, like always, he steals from her, stalks her, etc., etc., etc. Where Joe lives, he sees a young girl played by Jenna Ortega, and this is the only season she is in, and her name is Ellie in the series. And Ellie, she lives with her older sister, And her older sister is very suspicious of Joe. And her name is Delilah. And she's an investigative reporter. But they at some point have a little fling here. But Joe, like the last season with Paco, is like very interested in like being there for Ellie and protecting Ellie through everything. There's this producer guy that does illegal things with minors and children that Joe ends up killing. Again, Joe has to kill somebody. That's a complete pattern. Again, he gets to know Quinn. Her last name's Quinn. But he gets to know Love. They fall in love with each other. They're obsessed with each other. She tells Joe, Love tells Joe about her. When his and Joe's ex, Candace, comes, he literally lies and is like, oh, she's just obsessed. She's sad that we broke up. And I'm like, no, she's not. Can you please stop lying? Anyway, we go back in season. I'm just going to do seasons 2 and 3 together because Love is in both seasons. I'll just talk about them interchangeably. So seasons 2 and seasons 3, we get to know more about Joe. How he grew up. What happened in his childhood. What caused or what made him the person that he is. What made Joe have this love. What made him have a charming but dangerous man with an obsessive love disorder in general. Alright, so we go back to when Joe was a little boy and his mother, and we go back when we see Joe's mom, his mom and dad. His mom constantly, and I'm going to say this, one more time, constantly gets abused by her husband, aka Joe's dad, to the point that she leaves Joe's dad, and not leave as in breaks up, divorces him, She goes out with other men, trying to find a way to escape her husband, to the point that he already abusive and toxic in all shapes or form. He accuses her of cheating, which results for him beating her up more. And it also, pardon, makes Joe's dad beat up on Joe because he's like, I know your mom is cheating. Tell me, or I'm going to beat you up. And Joe doesn't really know because it's not, he does know, but he's not going to rat his mom out. Even if he didn't know anything, and he was just at school and didn't know anything, his dad's like, so beats him up anyway. So his dad's just abusive. He needs to go to therapy. His dad needs to go to therapy. He needs to fix whatever issues he has, because beating up your spouse, your partner, your children is a no-go. That's messed up. You need help. There we go. And beating up someone is not going to fix the problem. She's cheating on you because she's trying to find a way out. I do not support cheating, but I know why she's cheating. She's trying to find another way out. I get that. So we get to a point where Joe's mom buys a gun for self-defense. And this is in season 3. We find this out. And there's a fight that happens. And before, there's many times before, his mom says, I got a gun for protection. I put it right there. Just letting you know. Which I thought was, I understand why you're telling him. Because then he's not, just not like, why is there's a gun? But I feel like you're also giving too much turmoil and talking to your son too much about the situation. He knows already about the situation because he's seen it. He's seen you get abused. He's been abused by his dad / your husband. So I don't think you should do that because, again, he's still growing and messes up his psyche. So his dad is, again, choking his mom. Almost kills her. He shoots his dad for self-defense. And his dad dies. So that's the first person that Joe dies. And this is the only time I'm going to defend Joe. After that, I'm not defending him. That was 100% self-defense. Your mom almost died. If she was able to get the gun and defend herself, she would have. But you protected her. That one does not count. That gun does not count. I know his mom at that point as well was like, you did fine, you saved me, da-da-da-da. But what I did not like was that his mom, after that, abandoned Joe, put him in a foster home because she wanted to get away from everything related to her husband. I feel like at least take Joe with you. And I did not also appreciate that his mom, which is when she was with him, left Joe either at the supermarket and would go with other guys and then say stay here and not come back. No. You have friends that can watch him unless because of your abusive husband he separate, which usually happens, brings you away from your circle so you don't have anyone to watch him. So overall, he was left and he constantly would tell the other foster boys, oh, my mom's coming back, to the point that they would bully him for that. But I don't think you should bully someone. He had one friend there and was like, his friend was like, stop saying that your mom's coming back. She probably isn't coming back. Don't put your high hopes. We all wish our parents would come back for us. Don't do that. And he had one, there was a nurse that was in the foster home, and who Joe and her would read books, and Joe got really close to her. The only issues that she had was that she had an abusive boyfriend. And she ended up getting killed by her. Like, technically what almost happened to Joe's mom happened to her, which is her boyfriend killed her out of rage. Side note, just in general for anyone that's dating, if your partner is abusing you in any shape or form, there are other ways. There's domestic violence hotlines and other ways to find help if you're isolated and they took you away from your loved ones, to find help, because your life matters. A lot of people care about you, and to be honest, they will put, if one day you aren't there, they're going to put two and two together, and your partner is going to be, they're going to put the finger at you because you're the one that they saw their loved one, and they saw a couple days after you hit them, and their loved ones said it was nothing, and they fell, which it's never really they fell. It's that partner punched or something, and they're not gonna believe you. So I feel like this show also has given warning signs and ways showed like domestic violence is not okay at all. So continuing on from like his mom, the nurse, Joe has had a pattern of seeking women that are in terrible situations. Their partner neglects them, treats them badly, emotionally, physically, or in any sort of way, and tries to save and save them in any way, like be Superman and take them out, and then be like, you date me, I will protect you until like you find out something that I don't want you to find out, and then I'll kill you. But that's pretty much how Joe Goldberg is. And then he ruins your life, the people around your life in general. So to continue with seasons 2 and 3, he gets adopted by Mr. Mooney, who is the bookstore owner of the bookstore that he worked in season 1 in New York. And Mr. Mooney, he is an Army veteran. So he has a lot of military experience, PTSD, and other traumas from being in the war. And how he raises Joe and disciplines Joe is really bad, which shows Joe, love always hurts. If you love someone, you hurt them. Because Mr. Mooney, whenever Joe did anything wrong, again, the book Fixed Place, he would lock Joe there until Joe behaved, and then when Joe learned his lesson, would let him go, and he would be like, I'm doing this because I'm loving you, you need to be disciplined, da 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 da, which made Joe also have a bad representation of love, which he already had because of his parents, especially his dad. He hates to be by himself and lonely because he was locked in that cage because of Mr. Mooney. And overall, he had a terrible childhood and teenagehood, which I believe, like, overall made him become a serial killer. We also find out this backstory. This is in season 2 about Kansas and his relationship. So Joe became very obsessive again, controlling, paranoid, and was like, Kansas was cheating, but she was unhappy. She didn't know how to get out of the relationship, and she cheated on him with a photographer, and he witnessed her cheating. He caught her cheating, and he confronted Kansas about it, and she told him that she was not happy and wanted to break up with him, and he would not accept that. Her and the Joe and the photographer ended up having a dispute, and to the point that Joe pushes the photographer over, I don't know what is that called, not over a cliff, but like a wall, and he dies. So the photographer was Joe's first kill. So before he met Beck, he has killed one person. And then him and Candace has a fight. He ends up hurting her in some way and thinks that she's dead. She didn't die. She survived it. So for Joe, he thinks, he killed 2 people, but he has only killed 1. So yeah, so he again dates Love. Love is Love is Joe. She is the feminine, the female version of Joe. She has killed people for her brother. They had a babysitter one time that was horrible to 40. She killed them. Because her parents have a lot of money, they were able to change the narrative to something else. She has, and this is from season 3, she killed. So her ex-husband was going to leave her. He had cancer and was like, I'm not happy in the marriage. I want a divorce. And she was like, no. Don't. We can work this out. He didn't want to. She tried to paralyze him, but she put too much in the paralyzed thing that it killed him. So she has killed 2 people before Joe. Joe, when finding out that Love is him was like, peace. And me, I was like, you are a hypocrite. So it's okay if you kill for love, but if she kills for love, and this is in season 2, we have an issue. So Joe, at the end of season 2, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but I know this is going to be a long one, so I'm trying to shorten this up. If Joe kills someone for love, it's fine. But if the girl that he's with kills for love, there's an issue. So he tries at the end to kill Love. But Love stops him. And he doesn't end up killing Love because she's pregnant of his baby. And it's the truth. She's not fake pregnant. They have a child named Henry. in season 3. So talking about Love. Love kills to protect her family. Love kills Delilah because Delilah dates Joe, was trying to get to the bottom of who's killing people, because Joe has killed multiple people. So to protect Joe, she killed Delilah, plus Delilah was kind of dating Joe. So she killed Delilah. She killed Candace because Candace was going to rat Joe out. Candace was warning Love, being like, he's a serial killer, he did this, that, and the other. Come with me, I want to protect you. Candace was being a great person, and Love killed Candace because he's like, no, I'm a serial killer too. He's a serial killer. We'll be a lovely serial killer couple. The difference is Joe doesn't have an issue killing people, in my opinion. And it looks like that. He's okay with cutting the bodies, putting them in small bags, and all those terrible things, and getting rid of the body. Well, Love has an issue with it. She doesn't like killing. She just does it as a last resort. She's just concerning, right? Love kills out of impulse. Joe is because you did something he didn't like. He's trying to protect people, and then he knows how to clean it up, which is concerning. And I'm like, Love is more redeemable, in my opinion, and you could fix her problems when I don't think you can with Joe. Love, she does also need to go to jail, but I feel like from that she can fix Joe. He just needs to get the electric chair. And at the end of season 2, I'm like, this dude needs to go to jail. He's killed multiple people. Some of the people Love did kill, but in general, he has killed multiple people. To the fact that, like, I watched a video and it said, like, 21 people. That is how many people Joe has killed. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised there wasn't more. But overall, like, he's killed people to protect Ellie. He's killed people to protect Delilah. He's killed people to protect Love. Love has killed people to protect Joe and 40. But overall, we learn about about Love and their relationship. So season 3, and this is the last season I'm talking about because this is already a long one. So we see a glimpse of Love and Joe's marriage. They get married in a courthouse. They have the baby. Love is struggling with postpartum, like a lot of moms do. After they have a baby, they feel like sexy and less like wanting to do things. And while that's happening, Joe is having an affair with the next door neighbor. They no longer live in LA. They live in the suburbs in LA because to raise Henry. Joe thought they were gonna have a girl, which is like, I'm gonna have a girl she's going to save me, she's going to fix me. And his karma was he has a boy. And he was upset about that because, oh darn it, I have to make sure I don't repeat. He's not like me or his mom and carries that serial killer gene or becomes a bad person. Da 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 da. That's Joe's biggest fear. So the next door neighbor, her name is Natalie. So Natalie is played by Michaela McManus, and she is known by me at least. She played Lindsay in One Tree Hill, and Lindsay was engaged to Lucas in season 5 of One Tree Hill. So that is who Natalie is. She is literally in one episode of season 3. Joe has like an affair with her, ends up going over to her house, steals a pair of underwear, which is from her, like he always does, and puts it in his little box. Again, Love knows his ways and what he does, finds it. Love wants to open a bakery. Again, Natalie, she's a real estate agent, helps Love find a bakery. And it's really hard for Love because a lot of people in this town want to eat, are very like, they don't eat gluten, they don't eat this and that. So it's going to be hard for her to make business. So she's trying to figure out. She ends up killing Natalie. And then this whole season 3, her husband, Matthew, is trying to figure out who killed Natalie. Who killed my wife, and like, and he in general gets obsessed with it. He won't sleep until he finds out who killed his wife, which is awesome. Like, everybody wants someone that's that dedicated in them. And so to continue on, Joe helps Love clean up the mess, and to this part so far, we have heard this series in general, and I will say it in the second part too, is in Joe's perspective. Everything you hear is in Joe's perspective in general. You hear how he dislikes people, he hates people, he likes people. We hear everything from his perspective. And a lot of times I want to hear from the girls. Like season 1, I would love to hear what Beck's thinking. You know, I wanted it to be more back and forth. There are some parts of season 3 which I'm like, oh, I love this, that we get Love's perspective, and that particular part when it comes to Love, we get her perspective in season 3. In episode season 3, episode 6, we get Love is in a book retreat with her mom, and some of the other moms in their town, Marta, Linda, and pretty much we get Love's POV, which is refreshing. And also, like in season 3, there is in episode 3, Joe gets the measles because he's never been vaccinated, remember? because he where he would have gotten it was either like his parents, his birth parents would have got him the measles shots, and I'm surprised why they didn't vaccinate him. And I guess like when he was put in the orphanage, I'm surprised they wouldn't have given it to them then. But he's never got the measles shot. His son Henry got it, and he got it from Henry. And at the episode, he sees himself, and himself is telling him how he's terrible, and it was a very cool episode. I liked that episode very, very much. And at this point, again, they have a newborn baby who's gotten the measles. And we have a love that's like, whoever gave my child the measles, I am very mad at them. And they find out it is one of their neighbors who is anti-vax. Like, to the point that they're like, oh, kids are going to get it, their immune system is going to be better because of it. And I'm like, their son could have died. So to the point that they're like, are you joking? Literally, he could have died. Like, their son was in the hospital. Henry could have died. You put their child in risk of dying. And to me, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Your child had it and gave it to their child. Their child could have literally died. Like, and I feel like people that are anti-vax, you need to like understand that babies' immune systems are not strong, so they can die. And if you're anti-vax, you should make sure you're not around. For example, in this show is Gil. You shouldn't be around babies because their child could have died. And pretty much Gil, they knocked out Gil, put him in the box, and was like, you're in here because like our child could have died legitimately. And he was like a remorseful, but he's like, survived, now he has a bigger immune system. I'm like, no, what is legitimately wrong with you? Like, so they keep him in the cage. They do not kill him, but he's in the cage. By the way, Joe and her, and by her I mean Love, they make a cage. They're like, if someone angers them, they'll put them in the cage and then figure out what they're gonna do with them. Because again, they were paranoid because Matthew is looking around seeing who killed his wife. And then Joe at some point was like, okay, what are you have something on us, we put you in this cage, what's something bad you have done? And he's like, oh, nothing bad, I have done nothing bad. Because he was like, okay, you have this on us, I have something on you, so you won't die and we can let you out. And he has nothing. And Love finds out that Gil's wife, Margaret, lied, hid, did whatever he could to protect their son, who's in uni, who raped the girl, had the charges dropped, which is also, I remember there was also a play on this. Like I read this in university, that a guy raped a girl and got away with it, and she's just living through this trauma, and their son did it again, and they're like, oh, Joe and Gil are having a moment being like, I'm a terrible dad. Like, him doing it one time, I thought he would learn his lesson. He did it again. I'm not saving him. To the point, like, Gil feels so bad and guilty for, like, the first victim that his son did, that he killed himself. He committed suicide. And they end up using that suicide, which is what he did, and frame him for killing Natalie, and say that him and Natalie had an affair, which they didn't. And what they should have said is like, oh, my son was guilty, he raped someone, and that's why I committed suicide. Or at least, like, said, like, if they were gonna be smart about this, kept it about his son, because that's why Gil committed suicide, and blamed the son from, like, not for the murder, but like said Gil killed himself because his son raped another girl, and he also slept with or raped Natalie or something. Like, at least to have justice for the two girls that his son has raped or something. Like, how about that girl? Right, exactly. I just feel bad for that girl. So after going back to the beginning, after their love pretty much killed Natalie, Love is like, we should have couples counseling. So we have a couple of episodes where they do couples counseling. They don't go in complete detail why they're there. Like, they don't disclose the murder and stuff like that to not be put into, jail. But they do fix their problems and communicate, and the therapist helps them in general. There is also a point where their therapist that Love tells their therapist that Theo, who is Matthew's son, their next door neighbor, has been hitting on her, and it makes Love feel special because Joe's not paying any attention to her, not giving her any love, to the point that Love and Theo end up having an affair. Joe really doesn't care about it because Joe ends up falling, because again, Joe is working in a bookstore, ends up falling for Miriam, who is a woman that worked in the bookstore, who has a daughter and an abusive ex-husband who is a drug addict that faked, and also a news report, and fakes not still being a drug addict. and is trying to continuously tries to hurt her life in general with Miriam. So Joe tries to save her. And Love finds that out, tries to kill her, finds that she's a mom herself, and saves, and Love doesn't end up killing her. Another thing that happens this season, because Love is talking to one of the moms, Sherry, who's a mom, fully unsure that there's something to her and Joe, again, aren't having sex. And Sherry and her husband, Carrie, they're poly. They have an open relationship. They try to get Love and Joe into that. And through that, Love finds out that Joe's cheating on her, because before, every time they would get intimate, because, again, Joe is not interested in Love anymore. And he ends up thinking of Miriam and other women. That's how he gets off, right? And we'll talk about that more in the second half. At the end of the season, Joe kills Love. Love is trying to does the same thing she did to her first husband, but successfully numbs him so they can talk, because Joe's like, okay, I want to leave you. I want to go with Miriam. Again, him and Miriam have an affair of their own. And Love is like, no, you're not leaving me. Paralyze him to the point that he stays still. A whole lot of Theo's dad. Matthew finds out that Love is who killed his wife. They end up. So while they're doing the threesome, again, Carrie and Sherry, they end up hearing that that Love killed Natalie, and they try to knock Love and Joe to go tell the cops. They end up in the cave, but they finally somehow escape, and they literally are staying there, Hunger Gaming it, but they end up escaping. There's a lot of drama and tormental things happening. Theo finds out that Love trapped them in there. Knocks him out. Joe saves him and puts him in the hospital. Finally, Joe gets unconscious, saves conscious, kills Love, burns the house down, cuts off his toes, frames Love for everything, And I'm like, you can't frame love for everything. The only thing she literally did was kill Natalie, right? But she frames love for killing Gil, when she didn't kill Gil. He committed suicide, and again he drops Henry into Dante's house. Dante is one of his co-workers, and leaves to London, and that's season 4, and we'll get into that a bit in the other podcast, and I'll discuss more because this is already a long podcast on season 3. But overall, what I'm going to say is this season was a very removing all like everything that happened. This show from season 1 to 3 is very interesting, very a good show. But overall, I just hate Joe. I want him to go to jail. Joe ends up killing Marianne's ex-husband. Like, there was a point that he caught on to Joe trying to kill him or hurt him in any way, and it's like, oh, Marianne sent you, and he just punches the hell out of Joe, which I'm like, yes, he deserves that. And then the same night, Joe ends up pushing him into the world, just like he did with Kansas, is the photographer that Candace was seeing, but he survives. And then he ends up, while he's still unconscious, hitting I'm trying to find Marianne's husband's name. Ends up, sorry about that, guys. Ends up ends up killing him completely. And Love tells Marianne, oh, by the way, Joe killed your ex-husband. You have to be careful with him. He gets obsessed with you, then once he's done being obsessed with you, wants to break up with you, or he ends up killing you. So, to protect you and your daughter, run away. She runs away from Joe. Joe tries to find Marianne. Can't find Marianne. So, in general, Joe deserves nobody. He just deserves to go to jail. And he does anything he does to escape and to get what he wants. And in season 4, he ends up changing his identity again. And at this point, at the end of season, you're like, oh, Love just killed everybody, or Joe killed everybody, technically, right? But no, Joe's still alive. So this is the first half. So seasons 1 to 3. We will talk about the rest of the show soon. But I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.